It's Transforce96 here with another review, this time of the Injustice Gods Among Us 2-pack 3 3/4 inch Green Arrow versus Deathstroke. So there you go. So to first of all just go over the package. I was expecting a longer, skinnier rectangle package. So when I got it, I was actually pretty surprised that it was more just square and a little bit thicker. So that's interesting. As you can see, you get the names right here. You get the two figures. They are in like an action kind of little pose, which is pretty neat. I think that looks really nice. And you know, makes it cooler. Get the figures on the side. On the back you get the all the figures in the first wave. Although what's strange is I thought that they'd be coming out at the same time. Apparently they're not. At least at Toy Anxiety they're not. Because Toy Anxiety did get Deathstroke and Green Arrow, right? Yeah, that's his name. And they haven't gotten Solomon Grundy or Wonder Woman yet. They're still on pre-order. So apparently these are the first wave packs, but they will be coming out slightly separate times. But here's all the information about them. This is just a bio of the game and has nothing to do with the actual characters, and a little bit nicer picture of the characters on the side here. And so overall this is really cool. One other thing that I want to show you with the package, I'll show you in a second, but first of all just a little intro. I got these figures at Toy Anxiety for $24, so I was really happy with that. I wasn't planning on picking these two up. These were maybe figures to me, and I asked him if they had got the Solomon Grundy and Wonder Woman pack in yet, because I'm definitely picking that one up, and they said no, but they said that they had this pack. So I thought about it, and you know, within minutes I decided to go ahead and get it. So yes, I did purchase it. Let me just pause it so I can show you the one thing about the package. What's really awesome is the inside of the package you can remove, and it can become a little battle scene, a little versus pack, a little versus scene, sorry, that you can use with your figures, which is great. It's a whole little box here. You do get the bottom of it, as well as the top. It does get cut off, and the back and everything is just this. But it's a nice little display. I think that this is wonderful because in this game it's pretty much all just two people fighting in some kind of place or environment. So that's what I was looking for. This does seem to be Arkham Asylum. I'm not 100% sure, but I assume it's Arkham Asylum because you've got it it's indoors for sure. And then you've got over here it's all green and there's some vines. So I'm thinking that this is Poison Ivy's cell, and then over here you get a frosted one, so I'm thinking this is Mr. Freeze's cell. This statue is the only thing that's throwing me off because I have no idea who this is. And yeah, in the game there are some references to the Arkham Asylum and Arkham City games, if I'm not mistaken, as well. But the figures can go in there. It's slightly small. I mean, of course this is not to scale because that door is right there and you see how big that is, but it is still a nice little thing. So if you like to display your figures in a little kind of like environment, this is absolutely wonderful. I think it was a really nice touch, and I'm pretty happy with it. So let's start off with Deathstroke, the one that I was most looking forward to. I bought this mainly for Deathstroke. I thought the Green Arrow looked like a cool figure though, so that didn't hurt my decision in buying this. But the one that I was really looking forward to was Deathstroke. I'm more of a villains person, if you know me. So yeah, so I prefer the villains. But as you can see, just going over the figure itself, it's pretty good. It was disappointing. I'm gonna say it right off the bat. The disappointments of this figure, let me just start off with that, is the orange. This orange paint is just cheap. I really am not loving this. I mean, the orange, just the way it's painted on, there's some smearing there and everything. It just doesn't look good. Right here, there's some like bleed in it, so it's kind of blackish, if it'll focus on the actual arm here. There we go, you can see it. See, there's some black chips and everything. It's all chipping and everything. Really hating this orange paint. I hate it with a passion. Really not loving this. I think that orange just in general brings a very cheap kind of look to figures. I don't know what it is about it, and I probably never will, but orange just for me, glossy orange like this just really makes it look cheap. Really not loving it. The dark blue is pretty good. I like it a lot. I think there's really no problems. The only big problem I have with it is, look at this. What the hell? A huge orange mark right in the side of his face. Just insane. I couldn't believe it, and so I might just paint over that myself, but wow, I couldn't believe it. Look at that. That just It's horrific. How could you sell a figure like that? So really bad, really not loving the quality issues on this guy are a huge bummer, really not loving it. Going into the actual sculpt, that's where this figure does redeem himself a bit. The sculpt is actually pretty nice. I really do like it. The ammo pack with all the bullets here that he wears is done pretty well, and it's nicely sculpted and everything, nicely done. It does kind of move and everything. It is a soft plastic here, so like when you do the ab crunch and the ball joint upper torso, you can still move it and everything, which is nice. Overall, it's pretty cool. Really do like it. It does kind of look like it's torn over here, but it isn't. This is just the two separate pieces where they come together. So yeah, so overall the sculpt is pretty nice. It's got some spikes, which are good, and they are hard plastic, which is nice. But this spike up here, this top one, is bent for me, so that's a bummer, but not a huge disappointment. But as you can see, it looks pretty nice. The pouches and everything are cool, and as well as the rest of the paint goes, it's done pretty nicely. I do really like the guns that are attached onto his thigh. The only thing is I would have loved them to be removable, and they're just not, which you know, it's just for their price reasons, I have to assume. But overall, this figure it's very disappointing for me. As far as articulation, that's where this does get better too. Articulation, he doesn't have a swivel head. It is a little bit stiff, just because of the shoulder pads, but nothing too big. Ball hinge, shoulders with a bicep swivel, which is nice. Hinge elbows and swivel at the forearm right here where the glove or the gauntlet starts. Then he's got a ball joint upper torso, which is quite hindered, and then a ab crunch, which is wonderful. Really loving that ab crunch. Just beautiful. Sometimes I don't like that ab crunch, but this time it works out great. He's got a ball jointed thigh, which I would have much rather preferred a ball hinge thigh, but what are you going to do? Double hinge knees with a knee swivel. This is a new joint that I haven't seen. If they do double jointed knees, typically the swivel is on the upper thigh. They did it on the lower thigh, which I think is a wonderful touch, because there is already a cut that's going to be here if you have that joint here, so why not just add the swivel in here as well instead of making another joint, another cut like they usually do. So I'm absolutely loving that joint. Really, the fantastic, you know, great. And then the swivel at the start of the boot, and then hinge ankles. The hinge ankles are really just, I think that they were packaged when the paint was too wet, because they don't work really well. Really hating these hinge joints, but what are you gonna do? As far as accessories, he comes with one. It's just this gun. It's painted in a nice silver. It's not like they just did it in the same color as the plastic. So I do really like this color that they painted it, but it's just one flat color. But overall, the actual design is quite wonderful on the weapon. He can hold it in either hand fairly well. The only thing is he doesn't have a trigger finger. Well, he kind of does on this arm, but it doesn't make a difference. It's the same on either side. But it's hard to get the hand to actually hold it well. And then, of course, I mean, there's no finger in the trigger, so it does look pretty bad. But one thing that I do really love is that you can attach it. I just have to get it the right way. Here we go. You can attach it to the ammo pack, which is quite cool. So then he can have his gun on his back, which I do love. So overall, that is pretty nice. So overall, this figure, I'm not loving it. There is also another complaint that I have with it, but I won't go into that until I'm done talking about Green Arrow. So Green Arrow, on the other hand, was the one that I wasn't really looking forward to. I thought that he looked pretty neat, but nothing too special, and this was the one that impressed me, so there was a saving grace to this pack. As you can see, just starting off with the head sculpt, pretty nice. I do, if I can get it close, there you go. I do like the head sculpt. It does quite resemble how he looks in the game, as well as the hood is nice, except for the yellow ring. It isn't painted wonderfully, but it is still painted nice. The hood and everything is done pretty good, and as far as the actual just design, looks wonderful. Really do like it. No complaints there. I won't go in too much detail about talking about it, but I'll certainly show you it. I do kind of like his arm over here, how this is all covered in armor, and so yeah, so that looks pretty nice. Really do like that. On the other side it isn't, which is cool. And on the other side it does have these sculpted in kind of fingers to pull the bow, which is really awesome. He does have a quill on his back, which it does look cool, and it does have lots of arrows in it. It is just bent though, from looking at it from the side, it's bent. This is not removable, and the arrows aren't removable, not even one. I would have really liked for him to come with a removable arrow, and Deathstroke, I would have liked the guns to be removable, and for Deathstroke, I would have liked a second head, an unmasked head, because he does in the game, from what I've seen so far, because I have watched a walkthrough of most of the game, but in the game he just 90% of the time he isn't wearing the mask. So I would have much rather them had him with the maskless, but sorry. But now, just to go back into the Green Arrow. Green Arrow, of course, a really loving design, and the paint is pretty great. As far as accessories, he comes with a bow. The bow design is wonderful. I love the metallic green, and then this is a real string, and here. It's not making the sound too good. I'm not doing it right, like, there. Here we go, can you hear that? It makes that kind of ding kind of sound, which is wonderful. Really do love that. I wasn't expecting this to actually be a string, and it really works really well, and I'm really liking that a lot. The only thing is, I watched the game, and the arrow is so different in the game. I mean, I don't even know where they got this design. It's a wonderful design, though. In the arrow in the game, the thing kind of comes out, and it kind of curves up, and it doesn't just go right here. So it kind of like curves up instead of just going down here. As well as there's only one string, and then I haven't taken a good look in the detail over here, but if that's all different, I'm sure that this will be different too. So really, as far as accuracy, not there. I don't know, the accuracy is just is really not there. Wasn't expecting that, but what are you gonna do? To go over articulation, he's got sort of the same articulation as Deathstroke with minor differences. He's got a swivel neck, which was extremely stiff. I had to just twist it until it snapped to get it to go, but other than once you do that, it's fine. Then you have ball hinge shoulders with the bicep swivels. The bicep swivel over here will also move this piece of armor that is on his shoulders, so that's good. And then you have hinge on both of the elbows, and then there's a swivel at where the first strap is on this gauntlet on the left arm, and then there's a swivel at the wrist on the right arm, which is quite hindered because there isn't a cut in this armor, so that's a bummer, but not a huge problem. Ball jointed upper torso, ab crunch, ball jointed thighs, double hinge knees with knee swivel, and then hinge ankles. Wonderful articulation as well. Now to go just over the last point that I want to make with these figures is their size. These are supposed to be 3 3/4 inch DC figures, and to compare them with some Marvel 3 3/4 inch figures, because DC doesn't do 3 3/4 inch figures very much. But just to compare them with some Marvel, I picked characters that were sort of the same. Here he is with Deadpool, and then here he is with the movie Hawkeye, just to give you a movie look. As you can see, they are tiny compared to these guys. They're not horrible now. If you just look at them like this, they're pretty okay. But they're small. There's no doubt about it, which is a huge bummer. I really wasn't expecting that. I thought that they'd be right size, but they are quite short for 3 3/4 inch figures. These are more like 3 1/4 to 3 inch figures, which is a shame. But overall, that's not a huge problem. When I first got them out of the package, I was really bummed about that, but that doesn't seem to be a problem anymore with me. I could care less now, because they're not supposed to go with anybody, so it really doesn't matter anyway. But overall, each figure, they're pretty good. Deathstroke is far less compared to Green Arrow. Green Arrow is wonderful, totally worth your money. Deathstroke, on the other hand, isn't worth the money, in my opinion. At a $30 pack for both of these, this is one that you can skip if you're not into the characters, but if you do really like the characters, go ahead and get it. I'm really liking this line, just as what they are, 3 3/4 inch DC figures that have cool new looks from the game. I'm really into that, so I'll still be buying the figures, but they weren't as good as I kind of hoped, but they weren't horrible. So overall, they're decent figures. If you like the design, you like the idea of them, absolutely go ahead and get it, but if not, there's nothing huge that'll change your mind. So there you go. We'll definitely be reviewing Solomon Grundy and Wonder Woman when they come out. So there you go. Thank you for watching.